Welcome to Knit Cheerful. We are here with a wonderful guest, my youngest sister, Emmy.
Hi.
So we are going to talk about how her background with knitting, some of the things that she's got on her needles, some of the things that she likes to do with her knitted pieces, and just have a little chat. So,
alrighty.
Yeah, why don't we get started with you telling us, how'd you learn how to knit? Just a little background story.
So I learned how to knit. I watched my mother and my big sister knit, and I had always wanted to learn. I learned different making crafts first. I had started to sew and quilt, but I wanted to learn how to knit, and I went to a knitting convention with my parents, and there was this big space in the middle where you could learn to knit, and it was sponsored by Vogue Knitting. And my mom turned to me and said, do you want to do this? And I said, absolutely. And I turned to my dad and I said, do you want to do this? And my dad said, absolutely. So my mom continued to walk the show, I think. But my dad and I sat and we learned how to knit at a knitting show.
Yeah,
and
that's so fun.
Yeah.
Where was it, in New York?
I don't remember. I was pretty young.
You were little though,
I was
right?
pretty young, yeah. And it was, what I do remember is I was so excited. I had my first yarn. And it was like pale yellow acrylic. But I was so excited. And they gave us plastic needles. I think
amazing.
I think they were pink. They were very large.
Was it like a chunky weight? Like a bulky
It
weight?
was, I think it was like a DK.
Oh, right.
They gave decent sized needles, I think, so we could see our stitches.
Yeah.
Like there was no, this was not learn to knit a scarf.
Right.
This was learn how to cast on, knit, and purl, and that was it. There was no,
more like
no
the
FO
essentials.
goals.
Yeah. Cool.
So I probably still have that somewhere actually.
Oh, you're
buried
kidding.
in my stash.
I don't know if I've seen that.
I'll have to look. It may have gotten cold, but yeah. So that was when I learned to knit. I didn't actually take to it right away though. I learned how to do it. It was really hard for me. I don't know why. Machine sewing worked with the way that I creatively think.
Right, you processed it differently.
But when I finally got to sink my teeth into picking colors, then I was like, all right, no, this is something I can definitely do. So I really picked up knitting in force while I was at college.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I had a roommate that knit all the time. So I got to re-go over the basics with her. And we had a class together. We'd bring our knitting to class.
Oh, cool.
And she's who taught me how to do the type of cast on, not long tail.
That's right. The knitted or the cable cast on?
The one where you're weaving the needle in and then pulling.
Through the backwards loop?
Yes,
Yeah.
that one. So that was so quick that I was finally
Actually remember that you were doing a project and I was watching you and you were doing it differently. Yeah. That's right. I forgot your roommate did it.
And it was awesome. It was great that she taught me because I'm a very slow knitter. So anything to speed up the process keeps me going. But yeah, so that's...
It's not a race.
No, it is. If it was, man,
you'd have lost.
I'd still be in last year's race. Everyone else would be training for the next one. And I'm like a third of the way through, guys. But no, it's
right. It's not what it's
about. It's more, I end up taking my time quite a bit. I have fewer finished objects, but I have a lot of projects on needles, so.
Yes. Don't we all? But you are generally a very creative person. I feel like knitting is my outlet. I connect with knitting. I like baking as well, as things that I like to do with my hands. Thank you. But you are really more artistically oriented all around. You do a lot of different crafts. And you do, she's an illustrator, which is super cool.
My background's in illustration. Yeah. I'm a professional designer. So I do everything creative I can. I learn if I learn about a new craft, I'll have to at least try it.
Right. Which is fun. Yeah. But this isn't the only outlet that she has for her creative processes. So I think it definitely makes a little bit more sense that you're choosing what to do.
Right.
When you need kind of an outlet.
Right.
Whereas for me, it's just picking up whatever I have in my project bag because I really only knit. So I think that there's a difference there too.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
So knitting in earnest, I guess that's around like 4 to 6 or so years. Yeah. So yeah, so not a ton of time.
Right. But you've done several things in that span of time.
Yes, mostly scarves.
Yeah.
Mostly cowls, specifically.
Cowls. We're a big cowl family.
Yeah. I think at this point, between like Mom, you, and I, we have enough cowls to wrap me head to toe.
We're ready.
Yeah, just a stack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if the winter stays progressively colder and colder as it does every year, we're ready with those cowls.
Because any of these cowls could easily turn into very chunky wrist warmers, a chunky torso belt, you know.
Yeah, ankle warmers.
Yeah.
If you're just wearing, if you wrap them a couple times.
Yeah. Or we'll get to that later. You can turn anything into something else if you really
Absolutely,
need to.
As we'll see momentarily. Stay with us for creative ways to
make it work.
Make it work. That's the name of this episode.
Yeah, make it work. The Tim Gunn
episode. So actually, I think it'd be fun to kind of look at what you've got on your needles right now. What are you working on?
So on needles, I watched your podcast and I saw that you recently had on needles what I have on needles.
Let's see it.
It's weird. It's almost like we're related.
Are we related?
And we went to the store together.
Did we buy it in the same place?
So, for starters, this is my super adorable,
so cute
project bag. Pink on the inside, sheep on the outside.
Does it get any better?
So cute.
Very cute.
And then I am knitting the what was it called? Fractured Rainbow.
Yep. The
brioche pattern.
Cowl.
It's a cowl.
To add to the cowl set.
Yeah, because you never enough.
never enough.
That's the rally cry of the Cowl clan. So I am doing my Fractured Rainbow, if you remember, dear viewers, that her Fractured Rainbow
actually have it.
Light. Yeah, she has it.
So I did the pastels with the, I don't know if they're all pastels, the lighter rainbow with the cream base.
More rainbow bright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very rainbow bright.
I wish I brought all my unicorn
into
tails. I didn't. I have the next one, but I don't have. So my mine, I'll bring it up to the camera because it's dark, is a darker colorway. So instead of cream, I have a medium gray, and instead of the pastel rainbow bright, I have more jewel tones.
Jewel tones, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same color process as yours, though.
Right.
So I went from purple to maroon to.
Right.
The next color is, I think, supposed to be pink. Maybe I got the wrong one. But, so here's an example of like another, in comparison
to my...
This is the equivalent color here. So you can see how much darker. So yeah, so the whole, when this was, so the example of this FO on the wall was actually with black instead of gray.
That's right, yeah.
It's beautiful in black. I just like, I'm really drawn to... solid, like very much jewel tone. In fact, everything I brought is kind of fall-y instead of.
You always gravitate towards those.
Yeah, I like fall colors,
and I like rainbow bright.
So
I'm keeping her alive.
Yeah,
single-handedly.
I have my Lisa Frank knit, but it's not coming out well.
Yeah,
so that's going to be another make it work when I'm
Lisa
done with
Frank.
Yeah. I rep Lisa Frank.
Yes.
That's the one time I'll bridge into color.
Is
if it has so much glitter in it that you forget it's rainbow. It's glitter first, rainbow second.
Yes.
That's but otherwise it's jewel tones for days. So.
Yes. And we actually this is also from a previous episode, but we were together at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and that's where we got it. This is from the Knitting Goddess.
Yeah, and that's where mine is from. She helped me pick out which gray to put with it, actually. Which
she was really sweet. That was really nice.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I enjoyed that. Alrighty, works in progress on my end. I should have gotten this.
I like what you wrap it in.
Oh, so actually, I got this from Disney World in Florida's Epcot, in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
So it's one of those.
To wrap as a bag?
It's supposed to be wrapped as a bag. I'm not particularly talented at wrapping it. I ended up kind of swaddling my yarn, like the yarn babies that they are.
Yarn babies.
And then I just kind of wrap it up. But actually what's really nice about this is I like to knit with my puppies around me. And if they go to get one of the balls, I can just quickly cover it, which I end up doing a great deal.
This is beautiful.
Oh, I'm in
love.
Where's
that from?
This is Undercover Otter.
Oh my goodness.
So I talked about this yarn in episode 2 with Mom.
Okay.
So my mother and I went to Stephen and Penelope in Amsterdam I guess it was last summer. Oh, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. The whole trip was amazing, but it was really fun to visit. Amsterdam is a great city. And Stephen and Penelope was a lot of fun, that store. But yeah, so this is what I have on the needles, and I am feverishly trying to make headway on, is the So Faded by Andrea Mowry, Drea Renee Knits.
Oh, okay.
So this is the sweater, and I actually just started doing my first fade. So this is fun. Yeah. So I'm actually knitting this in a large. So it's my first sweater though. So this is all, I know, I was so nervous.
Especially after the episode where it turns out Mom's first project was
the sweater with all those baubles. Anyway, she talks about it in that episode. Yes. But yeah, so this has been a lot of fun. I had some anxiety about the underarms.
I have so much sweater anxiety.
Because I've never done it. I've also never really done it like this.
Is it a gusset? Or is it,
no.
What is the transition?
So I ended up you knit it flat. Then you join it in the round.
Okay.
And then you did the sleeves flat.
Okay-ish,
you know. And then, I don't know, I'm not explaining this technically correct. but anyway, but then I just got to the part where it was decreasing and now it's just working the body, so the sleeves are now on scrap yarn.
Oh, okay.
And then what will happen is, obviously I'll go back and work the sleeves.
Okay.
But I also will be going back in and adding to the collar, and then it ends with a hem of just like a rib.
Is it long?
Yeah, you can do a cropped version, and you can do a regular version. I'm doing the regular version.
Gotcha.
And I think I'm going to do the sleeves like 3/4. I like 3/4 length sleeves. Awesome. She has an option for a short sleeve, or no, I'm sorry, to an elbow sleeve, and then a long sleeve.
Well, you've done a shirt, you just haven't done sleeves.
Yeah, and I've done a cardigan, like a little open cardigan. Okay. That's really pretty. Actually, I have to find that. Yeah, no, it's like a seafoam green.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I've done things that work up into that have sleeves and whatnot, but I remember struggling with the sleeves on my little cardigan.
Yeah.
And I forgot how much anxiety it causes me until I was doing it on this one. I have a tough time, as you can see. I feel like maybe this is just par for the course, but it causes me a lot of distress to see the hole like this here. And I haven't figured out, I hold the yarn tight, and I pay a lot of attention to when I'm knitting in that area, but it doesn't seem to ever close the gap. So I think once I'm done with the sweater, I'm going to do a little bit of looking into how to avoid that problem. But if any of you have any suggestions, I welcome any comments, any whatsoever. I know my little sheep.
Stitch markers.
My little sheep beginning a round marker. I love him. He's my black sheep. Great, but this yarn is awesome.
It's gorgeous.
It has like a bounciness to it, and it I don't know, it just is really fun. It's like a spring to each knit, to each knitted stitch. I just absolutely love it. I can't recommend it enough.
Undercover Otter?
This is Undercover Otter.
She's awesome.
She was so fun.
Yeah, she was so fun.
We met her at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival.
Yeah.
Petra, I think her name is.
Yes.
Oh, so fun.
We have the bags signed by her.
Resting Knit
Super
Face.
Fun.
Yeah, but it was really fun to kind of chat with her for a minute about the colors that we chose, and she looked at them, and it was a lot of fun. You connect with it a little bit differently when you get to meet the dyer, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah,
so that was a lot of fun. But this is knitting up fun. I recommend the sweater pattern. I think it's easy to follow, and that I've never done a sweater before, and moving along with no problem. There's no problem with the directions. It's just a matter of finding your size. I mean, I went through and I highlighted my numbers so that it was
intimidating.
Yeah, but I crossed out the parts that I didn't need just to make it a little bit clearer. But yeah, now it's just knit even for 13 inches. So it's you know what I mean? I got past the part that was more, technically constructing the neck and the yoke and whatnot.
Right.
But yeah, so that's a lot of fun.
Do you want to talk about the other
So yeah, speaking of Undercover Otter, so as far as stash exploration, ta-da!
So we seem to have this theme between the two of us that we buy the same things in different colors and make the same projects, therefore, in different colors.
In different colors.
So we both have Otter Pups.
We do. Otter Pups, cutest name ever, too.
Ever. I actually wanted them. I didn't have a pattern for them. I found a pattern for them.
I don't have a pattern for these. I just wanted to own them.
I wanted to buy it because it's called Otter Pups. So
and
I
wanted to buy them because it looks like the 80s exploded.
Yes, it does.
Nothing makes me happier.
This isn't jewel tones. I branched
out.
Yeah.
Kudos. Look at you.
That was actually my personal rule for Edinburgh, was that I couldn't buy my colorway for the whole show.
And you didn't.
I don't think I did.
You did not.
Well, this is a little bit.
Oh, it is.
But it's rainbow. It's just jewel-toned rainbow.
Pushing the boundaries.
Technically different.
But yours have names, right?
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
How did I never know?
Mine is the high school highlighters. Otter Romp.
What are you seeing?
Right here.
Mine don't have a name.
No.
Mine don't have a name.
Well, this Otter Romp.
Oh, I have individual names.
Yeah, so do mine.
As well? Okay.
Yeah, but read out yours. What have you got?
Backdraft. Diabolique.
Ooh.
Nilbog. Wicked
I have Nilbog.
Do you? Oh, which one's it? Oh, this
must be this one.
Yeah. Wicked Little Things. And Screaming Satsuma.
I have Screaming Satsuma.
Which one's? That must be the yellow then.
Must be the yellow.
Or the orange.
Yeah.
One of them is each.
And my other ones are The Keep, Toxie, sorry.
Probably the
and Slumber Party.
Adorable.
Super fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what...
Just beautiful.
What
and especially with how it's knitting up in the sweater, I'm really looking forward to knitting
so
up.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I show those a little bit better.
So, this one. Just look at how beautiful those like purples
I love that. And I bet you when it knits up, you'll see these little pops of
purple.
Oh,
yeah. And this goes from like a pastel yellow to a bright, like dark gold.
I love that dark.
Really,
Which is funny because
gorgeous.
it's not, usually I like the lighter colors, but
yeah,
the close-up of these, they're so vibrant.
They do remind me of highlight. As soon as I saw them, I said, oh, they're like highlighters. And then that's actually what they're called.
But that is what it is. It's the highlighter romp. Yeah. So, what are some fun FOs that you'd like to share?
So, the theme of the show being make it work, which is actually the theme of my knitting.
Your knitting life.
Me as a knitter is make it work, and I can explain. So I
love it. This is my favorite story ever.
This story really does sum me up as a knitter. So I'm gonna start from the beginning. I wanted leg warmers. It
was a cold, stormy night.
It was, I wanted leg warmers. And I was shopping for leg warmers. I went like to stores and things. And I just wasn't finding the leg warmers I wanted. So, naturally, I think this was back when I was just starting to get more into knitting, because this was during college. Okay. So, I said, you know what? I know how to knit. That Vogue conference happened in my life, I'm gonna look up patterns. So I looked up leg warmer patterns, and therein lied the problem, where the pattern for what I wanted also didn't exist. So the leg warmers that I had envisioned in my mind.
So you were already designing without even...
Oh, yeah. So what happened was I found baby leg warmers that were exactly what I wanted. They were... and it's not complicated. This is what I wanted. I wanted a rib at the top and the bottom. Right. I wanted a field of knits, and I wanted a single cable down the front. You'd think that wouldn't be so hard to find.
Sounds very manageable.
Right?
Yes.
Nowhere except for this baby pattern. Picture was adorable.
I'm sure
Little chubby baby legs. Oh, so cute. Right? Okay. So that's the pattern I used. Right. I just decided to make it like 16 times the size.
Just keep going.
And I didn't change the dimensions of anything. So the cable on this is the cable from that pattern. But obviously it's much larger. Right. So I just did 3 of them. So I took this pattern, I rewrote it, making it fit an adult leg. Yeah. Right? Okay. Yeah. Well, this yarn, I wish I could remember what yarn it is, because I don't know anymore. But
it's really pretty.
It's gorgeous yarn. It's not the easiest to work up when you have never knit a full project before. Right. It doesn't look it when you're done, but it's thick to thin.
Oh, really?
And there's mohair in it.
I was going to say, there's a lot of halo.
It's a subtle thick to thin, but there's a lot of halo. And so if I'd make a mistake, really I couldn't figure out where to unknit to.
Right, because it was harder to differentiate.
So I had this whole thing going. I finished one leg warmer. It took me 3 or 4 months to finish one leg warmer.
That's
only one.
Yeah.
I remember taking a picture. Like something really funny happened. That happens to people's scarves. The top is much larger than the bottom. Right. Yeah. This is where I realized that I knit very tight as well. I got really into the way that I knit towards the bottom, and it's like
it gets more
really tight.
You kind of fell into your rhythm. which is just tighter.
Yeah. So the end of the leg warmer is pretty much how I knit now.
Right.
And then I said, I'm done with this for now. It was June when I finished. So I said,
in the mood for these
I don't need another leg warmer yet. So I'm going to put this away because I was done knitting for the moment. So I put the whole thing away. I proceeded to move because it's college. So I moved back home and then back out and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And well, I'll tell you one thing. I have the yarn for the other leg warmer, and I probably have the pattern. But if you were to ask me where it was,
oh my gosh,
that's what it was. So I have a single leg warmer,
one leg,
no pattern, and no yarn, and I don't know what yarn it was in. Right. So, so I sat there with one leg warmer
for a while.
For a while, yeah. I used to put it on and walk around when I was in my apartment, a fun joke, and be like, "Look, you know, for those days that you want just one leg warmer, only one leg is cold." And my mother had the wonderful idea that leg warmers can cinch to leg warmer hats.
Featuring a brand new idea.
So we're going to try and put this on.
A demonstration, if you will.
Let's see if it looks okay.
Love it.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
You're very elfish.
I think it's fun.
Selling it. So.
Sell it,
right. QVC for the next 10 minutes. No, but so now it's a leg warmer hat, and that's what I call it. I own that it was a leg warmer because you know what? Hat. After all, you have to make it work.
You have to make it work.
I do have a new addition for it that I haven't attached yet.
Also
from the Edinburgh Yarn Festival. A puff of alpaca fur. It's the softest thing that ever was. When you hold it,
it has Toft, right?
It has no mass. This is from Toft.
Yeah.
So the goal is to affix it to the end so that nobody thinks it's a leg warmer ever again.
It looks like it's deliberately...
almost me. I might not even know it was supposed to be a leg warmer. Who knows? Yeah.
Let's just show the cabling.
One day I may even make a leg warmer.
That cabling is beautiful.
Cabling is my favorite thing to do so far.
It's beautiful.
I've done some lace.
That's your thing?
Cabling's my thing. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, but I would say color work is my favorite.
I haven't done much. So color work is the other thing.
You did a lot.
This is color work, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because you were more than one. It wasn't like this. It wasn't self.
No. This is two skeins of yarn. And I started a blanket of color work, and I did enjoy that very much. But cabling is my favorite.
Where it's at.
So this cowl.
Put that on. That's lovely.
Thank you. It's so soft. I can only knit with soft yarn, otherwise I just don't understand why you do it. That's my
I like knitting with wool though, even though
alpaca. I actually don't think I have anything alpaca yet, but that's the goal.
This is wool, by the way. What you're knitting with?
Well, we'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
No, I'm enjoying it. It has a softer hand.
It does than the
right. Yeah, than some other like more raw wool, I think.
Right.
But this is very soft. I unfortunately have no idea what this yarn is either. I had the yarn for a very long time. I often buy yarn because I like how it feels or how it looks, and I don't have a pattern for it. And then it sits in my stash until Sarah makes something that I like, and then I realize I have the yarn for it. That's a pretty.
Oh wait, I can do that.
It's a pretty consistent thread of the way things work. So this cowl. If it's lived up to my intentions, doesn't look like a make it work cowl, but it very much is.
But it is.
And I'll show you how.
I love it though. You're so creative.
It drapes, with it. And it looks like everything about this is intentional. And I'm going to tell you that almost nothing about the way this looks right now is the way the pattern was intended. So,
success then.
The color work, thank you. The color work itself, it was the pattern. So it was just supposed to be this fully and around. But I don't know what happened. I don't know if I lost my mind or if I fell asleep every single time I joined in the round.
One part of the round.
But what happens here, let me see if I can find a spot that really tight, there we go. This happened a lot where you get a color butting up against a color that you're not supposed to, it's just not supposed to look like that.
Right.
In fact, I think the inside you really, there we go. So there's the inside. There you can see what I do. Actually, it looks better on camera than it does in person.
You can see the spot.
But you can see like that. Right. That runs all the way up and down. Also, whatever happened up here, I have no idea. I lose control of my projects at the beginning and the end. So what I decided to do, because I finished it and it had this big line, and I was horrified that I worked. This is intentionally a Ravenclaw color scheme. I wanted to rep my Hogwarts house, fellow Ravenclaws. You know, so I was devastated when I finished it, and I couldn't wear this. Right. I mean, it's got this like gobs of
I remember
gold
how upset you were
down a seam. So I just let it sit for a while, and then I had an idea, which I purposely left it out so that I could see it and have an idea of how to fix it. So I hadn't cut any of the yarn. I don't even think I'd like bind it off fully.
You mean like your ends?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean so it was still attached to the skein.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm not sure I finished even binding off. And I had the idea to then take the yarn and braid it, and then I tacked it along the line of mistakes, because they were consistently wherever I joined in the round. And then I picked up buttons, and I picked which one was going to be on it. And I sewed it in such a way that it encourages the drape, so that when it's on, it hides that weird nest of
at that top of
ends.
The joining.
Yeah, so it wants to fold over.
Right.
Because I actually sewed it. I tacked it, folded over a little bit. And it's a little crest, so that it goes with the Ravenclaw theme.
So cool.
But
it definitely looks intentional. You're absolutely right.
Thank you. So that's how that's my MO is. Take what you've completely messed up for some reason.
Falling asleep every time.
Every time you go into the round, you just a little nod off, you know, and you keep going. And then at the end, and at the end, you're inspired by Tim Gunn to make it work.
Yes.
So while I don't remember where this yarn is from, which I feel bad about, I do remember where this button is from.
Where's that button from?
This button is from a knitting store out in Pennsylvania that I was visiting. I was visiting a friend, so we went to this knitting store. And we walk in, and it's a lot of yarn and patterns up at the front. And all of a sudden we walk to the back room, and there's a table. And by table I mean like the floor was raised up 3 feet, because it was probably 10 feet by like 6 feet. It was you couldn't reach across.
And it was filled with...
You could only reach the middle of the table, and it was filled with containers about this big. Filled with buttons by color.
Cool. Oh, how fun.
Amazing. So we spent...
That's fun.
We spent a couple hours going through and finding good buttons. And I have like a whole sack of buttons.
I was going to say, I have buttons that I just pick up from my adventures, and I have yet to use a button.
I love collecting buttons.
I don't know what I'm going to do with these, but I have buttons with ducks on them.
You get a glass jar.
And you just show...
And you fill it with buttons.
For that day that I needed a button.
Yeah.
And then it won't even be the size that I need. I'm pretty sure.
No, and you'll always need like 6, and you have 4.
And you have 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you have 8, and you're like, well, do I want to use it for this thing that I only need 6 for? Because something else might need 8.
Left over. Right. There's a lot of variables here.
A lot to consider.
That's fun though.
Yep. Yeah. And so this fun little crest.
I think it's a nice accent though to the cowl. You know, it's like it would have been cool with just the braid, in my opinion. But I think that the button really makes it pop.
I really wanted it to like scream Ravenclaw, and I thought that helped.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does just that.
This is
cool.
My other FO.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Fun. FOs for me, very boring. I only have the one that I promised would be done. And here it is. It's done.
It's done.
Yay!
It's so big.
It is very big, and I will say one thing that I am disappointed in, aside from all of my mistakes, is that the cast on was tighter than my cast off. So it does have kind of like a funny little, it has a little like a tightness, like there's more of a tension up here, and it has a funny little like a bell, not a bell, like a curve, like a bit of a curve to it.
Did you block it already?
No, just kind of been letting it hang.
So it'll be
great.
It's
very, very warm.
Great for winter.
Yeah, no, it's lovely.
And it'll go with your winter coat.
Yes, it will. But it was fun. I had a fun time making this, as I've talked about.
I'm having a good time making it, and I'm glad I caught the rhythm of it finally.
Yeah.
That's part of why I'm such a slow knitter. It takes me a lot
to get into the
rhythm.
Yeah. Anyway, on to a fun fact about knitting, because I haven't had one since episode 1. So, First Lady she was quite the knitter.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. So what she liked to do was, and she knit quite a lot of bedroom slippers. And what Charities would do.
How do you knit bedroom slippers?
I think they're maybe more elaborate than socks. They're fancy.
That sounds awesome.
Fancy socks.
Yeah.
But she knit, evidently she knit hundreds of these, and Charities would take them and then auction them off for a lot of money, which was really a cool way to use her skill for a good purpose. So what's fun also is the National First Ladies Library has one pair, I think, on display.
How cool.
Yeah, so that's cool.
So
but anyway,
check it
I
out.
thought that was fun. Yes. Well, this has been fun. I enjoyed our chat. Thank you for coming.
Of course.
Talking about what's on your needles, what's off your needles, happily, and what is to come. Like maybe these pups.
Maybe another leg warmer.
Stay tuned.
For a very long time.
Yes. But it was a lot of fun chatting.
Yes.
I had a good time. Thank you all for your time joining us while we sit here and chat about what we love. Hopefully you'll stay tuned for our next episode and have a wonderful night. Thank you.